If you're currently interviewing for product marketing roles, especially if you have no direct PMM experience, then you've come to the right place. As someone with 10 years of experience in the tech industry and 7 in product marketing directly, I've worked with clients and helped them to land their first product marketing roles. I even worked with a client recently who was an entry-level college grad, no previous experience, and now she's flourishing in her new product marketing role. And I'm here to help you to do the same. Now, unlike my previous videos where I covered questions like tell me about yourself or why do you want to work here, in today's video I want to go deeper into some more challenging product marketing questions that you might be getting on your current interviews. So for each one, I'll share examples of what not to say or weaker responses first, and then I'll share stronger responses that you can use to really impress your interviewer. All right, let's get into this. Okay, so question number 1 is, how do you identify your target audience and how do you understand them? And this question really tests your market research and your customer-centric approach to your work. Let's look at a weak response first. So a weak answer might sound a little something like this or something along these lines. I usually look at our current customers and then I create some basic demographics like their age, maybe their location. I also check out what competitors are doing in our space and I try to target similar people. If we need more information, I might even run a survey. Now, this answer really falls flat because it's really generic and it lacks a methodology in your approach. It doesn't really show strategic thinking. So here's a stronger approach and what that would sound like. I follow a multi-layered approach to audience identification. First, I want to analyze our existing customer data to identify patterns and segments, looking beyond basic demographics to understand behaviors and pain points. Second, I want to conduct qualitative research through buyer interviews and focus groups to uncover emotional drivers and unmet needs out in the market. Third, I want to use market segmentation frameworks to identify underserved opportunities. So you can provide a specific example. So you could say something along the lines of, for example, at my previous company, we discovered through this process that our core users weren't actually who we initially thought. By shifting our messaging to address their specific challenges, we increased conversion rates by 33% within a quarter. I also established feedback loops with sales and customer success teams to continuously refine our understanding of who our best customers are and why they choose us. This is a generic example, and I'll try to use more personal examples in my own product marketing experience as we keep going. Okay, question number 2, which I love, is how would you explain complex product features and functionality to different stakeholders within your company or your organization? This question tests your communication skills and your ability to really tailor messages to different audiences. So let's start with what not to say or what to avoid, kind of a weaker response. So a weak answer might be, I create comprehensive product documentation that explains anything and everything about this feature or product. I believe in being transparent about every little thing that the product can do so everyone gets the same information. Usually I'll create a slide deck that might cover technical details, benefits, and maybe a couple use cases that we found from our beta customers or our initial product development research. So this answer really misses the mark in a couple ways. So first, it doesn't really talk about customizing your communication for different audiences. And that's a huge part of being a successful product marketer. Believe me, you wouldn't explain the same thing in terms of a product or a feature to your PM or your product manager that you would to a sales rep. So let's talk about a better approach and what you could say instead of that weak response. A stronger response might sound something like, I adapt my communication style and content based on the stakeholder's role, their priorities, and even their technical knowledge. For example, for executive leadership, I focus on business impact, market differentiation, and ROI, keeping it concise, primarily concise, and strategic. So I will often work backward on the methodology as needed. So what I try to do with executives is I will actually show the results first in that first slide of a deck, for example, and then have following like how we got their slides based off of their questions and their feedback. For sales teams, I create compelling narratives with competitive differentiation or competitive advantages that we have in the market and customer problem framing that they can use in their conversations. For technical teams, I provide deeper functionality explanations and documentation with key use cases, again, that we found from our beta customers or from our initial research with customers. So when launching a new product at my current company, and yes, this is a real life example of my current product marketing experience, I created different materials for each group. So again, I started with a one-slide executive summary with the results of an industry-specific email campaign, and I shared that with our leadership team, and our CEO was included in that. I provided a detailed pitch deck and email templates with statistics to support why customers should invest in this type of software for sales. And then I gave implementation guidelines and support documentation for both our account managers and our customer success managers that they could share with their customers who might need these resources. So this approach really ensured that everyone got the information that they needed in a format that was immediately useful for their specific role. You want to make sure that it's practical, right? You want to give them the information and the content in the format that's going to make sense for them in their day-to-day role and what their customers might be asking of them. Oh man, I've gotten this one so many times, and that is describe a product that you think has poor positioning in the market and how would you improve it. So please make sure you have your notebook down, you're writing notes, because this one will come up on your product marketing interviews, no questions asked. This question really tests your critical thinking and positioning strategy skills. So let's look at a weak answer first. So poor response might be, I think product X is poorly positioned because their ads aren't very good and they don't explain their features really well. I would make better ads and highlight all the cool things that the product can do, and probably lower the price as well, because it seems like a more expensive solution compared to others in the market. And this answer is really superficial, and it focuses on tactics rather than strategic positioning. So let's talk about a better, more strategic approach to this question. So a stronger response would sound like, I believe that Google's Pixel phones, excuse me if I'm not pronouncing that right, I'm an iPhone user. Pixel phones, despite being excellent products, have struggled with clear product differentiation and positioning in the market. They're caught between Apple's premium ecosystem and various Android competitors who specialize in certain niches. So to improve this, what I would do is first, I would conduct thorough market research. So I want to understand if there is an underserved segment, so a group of customers, where Pixel's AI capabilities create unique value for them. So perhaps it's privacy conscious professionals who want AI, but they don't want to sacrifice on their data concerns that they might have using AI solutions. Second, I'd refine the positioning statement to emphasize the differentiation of the Google Pixel. So for professionals who want cutting edge AI features without compromising privacy, Pixel provides on-device intelligence that enhances productivity while keeping your data secure, unlike other phones that would send your information to the cloud. Third, I'd ensure that the positioning cascades through all the touch points that we have. So from product development priorities to messaging hierarchy in marketing materials to sales enablement. So you want that clear message of differentiation and positioning to kind of trickle through every touch point that you have with the customer. So success would be measured by increasing consideration in this target segment and higher conversion rates when these customers do enter the funnel. So you're going to be looking at the number of maybe marketing qualified leads that you get, considering this new positioning, and ultimately, is it driving sales opportunities and revenue for the company? Okay, so the next question is question number 4, and that is, tell me about a time that you had to make a data-driven marketing decision with incomplete data or incomplete information. Now, this question really tests your analytical thinking and your decision-making skills under uncertainty, which is often how it is being in a product marketing position. Let's look at what not to say A weak answer might sound like, I always try to wait until I have a complete overview, complete data set before making critical decisions. And if I'm forced to decide with incomplete information, I think I'm just gonna go with my gut and how I feel about the decision. So this answer really shows an unrealistic expectation of perfect data, and it lacks a really structured approach to decision making under uncertainty, which again, every company that I've worked at, it has a high level of uncertainty. So let's talk about a better response. A stronger answer would be something like, in product marketing, we frequently have to make decisions with imperfect data or imperfect information. When launching a new product by pro license type, so our more advanced license type, and by industry, our sales force was riddled with inaccurate information and also old employees who were no longer with the company. This is a real life example, by the way, of my current company. And we wanted the customer success managers to have a detailed list, a spreadsheet of all their accounts by vertical, aka by industry, and the key contact on that account, so that person on that account, who we would want the CXMs to send an email cadence or multiple emails to. So in order to move forward, I first worked with sales operations to pull accurate lists of customers and their associated industries that were tagged. Then I worked with the customer success leadership, and I talked to them to review the list that we had and confirm with their teams the appropriate CSM or the appropriate customer success manager for each account. So although this process involved multiple teams, it added a few extra steps to the overall launch timeline. It was absolutely crucial to driving an 800% increase in new customers within 30 days. And I know that sounds absolutely bonkers, but it's true. We actually went from 1 customer to 9 customers in 30 days after this email campaign went out. All right, and this is one of my favorite questions, and that is, how do you measure the success of product marketing initiatives? And be sure, again, to write this down, because you will definitely get this question on your next interview if you haven't already. This question really evaluates your understanding of metrics and the ability to demonstrate marketing impact. And this is a critical question because it's often asked in my experience, and it's really a way for the hiring manager to gauge if you truly understand what PMM does. So let's start with a weak response. So a poor answer might sound like, I look at metrics like website traffic, social media engagement, I look at how many people download our content in general, and if these numbers go up, then that must be doing well, and our work is successful, our messaging is working. Now, this answer focuses on vanity metrics, and I think that is why it falls so short, is because it's not really talking about the overall business impact. There's a more comprehensive approach to this answer. So let's look at a stronger response to this question. You could say something along the lines of, I believe in a multi-tiered measurement approach that connects marketing activities with true business outcomes and results for the business. So I start by defining success metrics that align with the business objectives before we even launch anything. And that's so important. It's like, you have to make sure that whatever work you're doing it towards the goals that your business actually cares about. So for awareness and positioning work, I track the share of voice, message penetration in target segments, and competitive win-loss analysis trends. For demand generation, I focus on pipeline influence, conversion rates at each funnel stage, and customer acquisition cost. Now, most importantly, I always tie these to revenue impact through attribution and incrementally testing. So for example, after our recent messaging refresh, we measured an XYZ increase in sales opportunities and then XYZ increase in sales win rates when our new value proposition was used in pitches versus our previous approach. I also value qualitative feedback. This is so important to product marketing work as well. How our messaging resonates with our customers in conversations, whether sales finds our materials effective in real world scenarios. So this balanced scorecard approach ensures that we're not just driving activity for the sake of it, we're creating measurable business outcomes. Whew, and there you have it. 5 challenging product marketing interview questions with examples of weak and strong responses for each. So remember, as a pro tip, interviewers are looking for the following. They're really looking for candidates that show strategic thinking, that connects marketing activities to true business outcomes and business results. Just remember that. Customer-centric approaches, so they're looking for you to position and start messaging based off of what your customer actually cares about and what their day-to-day looks like. Data-driven decision-making, even when you don't have perfect data, which is often the case. Cross-functional collaboration skills, and your ability to measure and demonstrate true marketing impact. How can you connect the work that you're actually doing with real results for the business? So in your interview prep, practice structuring your responses with specific examples that showcase these core skills. If you're interested in product marketing, you can please feel free to subscribe to my channel, but also you can check out my website in the description of this video if you're in the market for some one-on-one interview coaching. Thanks so much for watching if you got this far, and good luck on your product marketing interviews. Take care.